Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's business support series. We're going to just sit for a few more seconds and allow people to come into the room and get everybody settled. There we go. People are starting to come in. All right. Thanks for joining us this morning. I am Patty Dow, Member Services Specialist with the Halifax Chamber of Commerce and your host for this morning. I'm excited to be here with you to talk today about public speaking. And we are very excited to have you join us. I know public speaking can be a very daunting task, but the right tips and tools with the right tips and tools, you can speak in front of public, online and in person and with confidence. Zoom has given us the space and practice to be able to practice our public speaking. And it's a great time to practice your public speaking skills. Thank you to everyone who submitted your questions beforehand. If you do have questions, please type them in the Q&A box and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. Our presenter today is Templeton Sawyer. He's an employment support practitioner with Teamwork Cooperative. We're very excited to have Templeton with us, and we hope you enjoy the session. Welcome, Templeton.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's so good to talk about public speaking at 10 a.m. in the morning. It's always good to hear some motivation tune to help you end your week, I would say, and then start with a new week. So my name is Templeton Sawyer, and I work at Teamwork Cooperative. Actually, my new role is Information Resource Specialist at Teamwork Cooperative. I recently got that role last month prior to scheduling this public speaking webinar. So I'm excited to share that role, and I look forward to just engaging with you and helping you to develop your confidence in public speaking and also to show your awareness to move forward in your public speaking, whether it's creating a presentation or presenting a presentation, whether it's actually just having a conversation. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So, like I said, my name is Templeton Sawyer. I would say welcome to business class. Basically, you are on a class level where you're about to learn a lot of experiences to grow, to develop, and to just change your life in the entrepreneurial world, in the business world, and whatever type of setting you find yourself in, whether it's the government sector, the nonprofit sector, the for-profit sectors, there could be anywhere or any area that you can use public speaking in. So let's just get right into it. So this is our pilot, Captain Business Ready. Captain Business Ready is going to fly us into a beautiful area. And I know that we're all in the pandemic, so we're thinking about traveling so much. But hey, we're on a plane today, and the altitude is, let's just say, I don't know, the highest that you can think. Let's just think about the height that you want to fly right now as you continue to grow and develop in skill development and all that good stuff. So, good public speaking can create amazing growth opportunities for innovation and healthy conversations amongst businesses. Public speaking is a development tool that will be able to help you to grow your elevator marketing pitches, to help you to enhance and to help you to move forward in where you want to go to present, to persuade, to inform, and to just have a conversation and just to empower or to inspire someone. A good public speech can launch a decade-long quest for the moon or inspire people to compete for a prize for the best new product or find ways to save money and make processes more efficient. A good public speaking speech is a great way to assemble people to find new solutions to difficult problems. So When you're doing public speaking, you're actually having a conversation. And let's just get right into it. But before we do, let's just take you around the world of where we're going into our destination. First, we're going to talk about what is public speaking. Then we're going to go to an example model and then the types of public speaking. And then we're going to go all the way to overcoming speaking anxiety. And then we're going to have a good departure into a bonus information. And then we're going to land smoothly into a practice quest, I would say. So let's just do that and let's have fun with it. So as you look out in the beautiful skies and you think about that traveling trip and also thinking about your growth opportunity, what do you think when you hear the phrase public speaking? A lot of people hear afraid, nervous, happy, exciting, sad, depressing. So there's a lot of ways that people would describe public speaking. But let me just describe public speaking in a quick notch. Public speaking is just having a conversation. It's about presenting in front of a crowd. It's about presenting in front of a group or a board. But let's just bring that way down and bring it back to the roots. Public speaking is having a conversation between either your best friend, your family member. I'm doing public speaking right now because I'm presenting to you. But if I was having a conversation with one of my roommates, or if I was having a conversation with one of my friends outside of our household, or if I was having a phone conversation, I'm doing public speaking. A lot of people don't notice that they're doing public speaking because they think that, oh, we're just having a conversation, just a conversation, Templeton. It's not public speaking. But actually, it is public speaking. It's if you think it about that way, it helps you to think about evolving and how you tune your conversations, how your facial expression is when you're having a conversation. Because for me, I have to always watch my tone, watch my facial expression, and also watch the way how I talk when having a conversation. So if we think about public speaking as that, then we can be successful and try to make a good presentation. There's a favorite quote that I always like to share. If you can speak, you can influence. If you can influence, you can change lives. And that's just what public speaking is all about. Changing, influencing lives, making a major impact on someone's life who you're talking to. Making sure if it's solving a problem, if it's actually being a counselor, or maybe just being a listening ear and responding. You're influencing when you have words that are coming out of your mouth. Make sure those words, or sometimes it can be harsh, but you have to do it sometimes. But public speaking depends on your confidence level. You have to be confident in what you speak. You have to be confident in making sure that you have 100% belief in what you said. And sometimes you may be wrong. Yes, we might be wrong, but at the end of the day, be confident in how you present. And we're going to be talking about some types of public speaking. And I hope that this will resonate with you as you learn this development. So another definition is public speaking is a soft skill that requires excellent communication skills, enthusiasm, and the ability to engage with an audience. Public speakers make presentations to a group. Presentations ranges from speaking to a small group of employees to presenting to a large audience at a national conference or event. Like I mentioned, let's think about also public speaking as having a conversation. Here's an example model. Public speaking is an interaction model. You as the source, bringing the channel down to the receivers who are receiving your message, either in a positive way or in a negative way. And of course, then the receiver then goes back to give you feedback. And you as the source have to relay or to respond in the appropriate tune or manner. So as you're doing public speaking, I encourage you, practice before you go up on a stage, or practice before you, and I will speak to a group of individuals. And for me, I would normally practice in the mirror. And a lot of people are afraid of that mirror. And I think the mirror is the best way to see your tune, to see your posture, and to see just the emotions that you're showing. I always try to do this example. When you're presenting, look at the way or record the way how you're speaking. Sometimes you're speaking as, welcome to Public Speaking 101. My name is Templeton Sawyer. Welcome to Public Speaking 101. My name is Templeton Sawyer. Welcome to Public Speaking 101. My name is Templeton Sawyer. You think about so many levels that public speaking can bring. It can bring a boring tune. It can bring an excitement, yay moment. Or it can actually bring a motivational, inspiring moment to help you to move forward. And yes, when you're creating that elevator pitch about your business, when you're creating that presentation to present, think about why you are selling that product. Think about why you're selling that service to me as a customer. Because in businesses today, you have to think about how you present, how you have conversations with your clients, making sure that that pitch is left inspired. That pitch is left having your customers or clients or anyone you're interacting thinking about the next question or the next conversation they would like to have with you. And that's what public speaking is about. It's about making sure that you have that lasting experience for people to continue to want to network with you and to grow with you. And I hope that you take these words of advice, that you make sure that you look at your tune, look at your posture, make sure that whatever you're presenting, that you're passionate about it. And a lot of people sometimes, and I'm a public speaker, and I always tell people that I can inspire with any topic. I can motivate with any topic once I do my research. And once I find an area that I'm passionate about in that topic, that brings life to me, that brings values to me. So making sure when you're doing public speaking, make sure that the research or whatever you're presenting aligns with the values that you're going to speak. So we're flying over, let's think it as Cancun Island, and let's just think about just this moment of just looking at the beach waves and the ships and all that good jazz. And we're just going to just take it another level to the types of public speaking. And as we talk about this, I want you to think about what type of public speaking you fall yourself into. And I'm only going to share two with you. I'm not going to share multiples of types. I'm just going to share two just to keep you inspired. So the two types of public speaking is the main two types of public speaking, because there's a lot of types. Is informative and persuasive. Informative is to provide information or to increase understanding. Basically to inform, to demonstrate, to describe. Persuasive public speaking is to reinforce or to change thoughts or actions, to motivate, to persuade, to convince. When you're doing informative public speaking, you're sharing, you're informing, you're gaining information from yourself to the other persons who you want to receive that information. When you're persuading, I always say persuading is more of a marketing technique. It's more of a way that, hey, I'm persuading you to buy into this product, or I'm inspiring you why this product is better than the other. So if you think about it, what would you say you actually produce best? If it's persuasive, I encourage you to learn more about informing. If it's informing, I encourage you to learn more about persuasive. Making sure that you have a blend of both, because it has its opportunities for you to connect, for you to inspire, and for you to just to continue to persuade others to be a part of your life and all that good stuff, or be a part of the organization or business that you're growing and evolving. So we're here in the bonus information, and I am so excited that I am here to share public speaking ways of growing your strategy, whether it's your brand strategy, your business portfolio, or just in general, growing your communication or strategy plan. And there's a quote that I wrote: if you have a story, tell it. If you have a product, brand it. And if you have a service, present it. Know that public speaking is all about sharing, inspiring, and telling what you want. So tell it, brand it, present it. That's all public speaking is all about. Tell what you want to say. Brand why you're saying this, and present on how it's going to bring a lot of impactful ways. And these are the three questions I always ask myself at any point in time. I have it normally on my computer as a sticky note. What would I like to present? Why am I presenting this information? How will this impact the business or clients/customers on a positive level? Don't ask your question, don't ask these questions at the end of the week, but you should be asking this question every end of the day. By you asking these questions, it helps you to evolve, and it helps you to develop where you want to go. Yes, you may not always have like the questions or the responses to where you want to go or where you want to grow. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're developing to where you want to be, that you're growing into another level. I encourage you, if you want to continue to also grow and develop, listen to different podcasts. And this is where I would also present that I have a podcast called Tweak the Leader in You podcast, where it's a podcast that's helping to evolve and to continue to grow businesses and also leaders in general. So I encourage you, listen to different podcasts, YouTube channels, TED Talks. Continue to evolve yourself with conversations, resources that will help you to develop into another level. So as we go into another switch of a conversation, I want you to relax now. And I want you to think about all the words I just said. You know, like I mentioned at the beginning, public speaking is a fearful conversation. And it helps in so many ways. And I can just share a bit of a story. When it comes down to my public speaking, I wasn't always like this, where I was so bubbly and so energetic just to inspire and just to share. For me, I had to grow and to develop into public speaking. My first symptom, I call it, of public speaking is I had to tap on my legs. Every time I did public speaking, I was tapping on my legs. Or the next phase, I was just sweating. So I stopped the tapping on the legs, and I was just sweating. And the next phase, I would put my hand into this position for some reason just to keep me grounded. But then it'll be too sweaty at the end of the time, and also it'll slime my notes sometimes that my hands only become sweaty and all that stuff. And so those were like kind of my symptoms until I had to overcome. I had the opportunity to present, well, to be a camp director in Prince Edward Island. I had the opportunity to speak about 3 times a day for the whole summer. So of course, my voice was overwhelmed afterwards, but it showed a lot of motivation because I was inspiring high school students, um, um, preschool students, primary school students. And so like I had to actually speak, inspire, and to motivate all the time. And so like I had that grew me out of my phase that summer of 2017. And after that, I was just continuing to evolve and to encourage and all that good stuff. So when overcoming speech anxiety, you have to acknowledge your fear. Acknowledge what's going on in that level of why you're afraid to have that conversation, why you are afraid to just speak in front of a group. Why are you afraid to just present or to speak to someone? You have to make sure that once you acknowledge those fears, you focus on how can you work through those fears. I wouldn't say find solutions, but work through the fear. And then, of course, the solution will end because you already found it, what you need to do. Act confident. Practice your confidence level. I always try to gauge my confidence level, and I scale it from 1 sometimes up to 20 because 20 is like the highest that I don't need to have coffee in the morning, and I haven't had coffee in the morning. Just so you know, this is my personality on general. I haven't had breakfast, but this is actually my energy because I'm pouring this information into you because I'm excited. And so this is all the excitement nutrients that I have in my system this morning. So I have to gauge that confidence level and where I want to go. So I encourage you to have a gauge of confidence level of how you're feeling when you're having conversations and how you felt that conversation went. Channel your nervous energy. Yes, you will be nervous sometimes. You will go through that nerve wracking moment where you say, oh, I can't do this. But I always encourage yourself, tap yourself in the back or talk to yourself. And sometimes I would talk to my inner self and I say, like, Tyler, you can do this. Sometimes I'm not talking out loud, but in my inner brain, I'm saying, you can do this. You got this. And then I'm bringing more energy to move forward. Visualize your success. Visualize after having that conversation how that's going to bring a major impact. Visualize what's going to happen once you present that presentation. Visualize all these things before beginning because it will help you in presenting better on why you're doing it and why you're having that conversation. Use deep breath techniques. Breathe in, breathe out. So let's just practice it for just 1 second. Well, 1 minute maybe. Breathe in, 1, 2, breathe out, 1, 2. Breathe in, 1, 2, breathe out, 1, 2. Using those breathing techniques help you to develop. It helps you to just calm your ease in order to move forward. Focus on the message and not the fear. Once you focus on the message, making sure that, hey, this is the reason why I'm doing this. Give yourself a pep talk, like I said earlier. Pat yourself on the back. Tyler, you're doing a good job. If you don't encourage yourself, sometimes you're the only one who's going to be rooting for you in regards to growing and developing in the area of skill that you want to do. So you have to give yourself a pep talk before you go into that winning consultation meeting, that board meeting that you have to go in, that business negotiation meeting you have to go in, whatever you find yourself in. Yes, sometimes it's very nerve-wracking when going into a winning situation, a winning speech or winning conversation. Yes, sometimes it's kind of afraid or you're scared about it, but I encourage you to just move forward with that part. Know that you got this. Know that once you say the words, I believe in myself, I believe that I can do it, move forward, inspire, empower, and make sure the message is going forward. So record yourself. Sometimes people don't like recording themselves, but I normally record myself just to hear the tune that I'm speaking in. Because sometimes I can be too loud. Because I remember, like, literally, I was literally loud a lot of times when doing like my other public speaking back in 2000. I would say 2015, 2016, because before transitioning into the workforce and also university, I was a debater. So debaters, they're very aggressively passionate and loud sometimes. And so I had to tune that down, because if you want to like be an inspirational person, you have to like tune that message. So recording myself was the best tool that I had to use in order to tune my message down. And you realize that I tuned my message, my voice down as I was trying to share something about a very important topic to you about overcoming your anxiety, your speech anxiety. Take deep breaths, rate yourself from a scale to 1 to 20. Observe another speaker. Right now, you're observing me, inspiring you folks. So I encourage you to do that and to make sure that you're doing that. So I always try to end with a practice time. But of course, we're in a webinar. But I would want you to just say your name, your favorite color, and why, and what is one of your values. And you can say that out loud, basically, to hear yourself saying it. I know it's kind of weird, but it helps you with your confidence level. So if you're doing that, I give you a kudos, yay, because you just did public speaking. You just encouraged yourself to move forward, and you just encourage yourself just to build your brand awareness, and you just encourage yourself just to lead into another level, to the next level of where you're going to go. So thank you. I think I'll turn it over to the host.
I'm coming back, I think.
Stop recording.
Okay. Wow. Oh my goodness. So much energy.
I know, right?
It is fantastic. And energy is contagious, right?
Yeah.
It really, really is contagious. There's been lots of comments here in the chat box. We have one question from someone in the attendee, an attendee says, is this your quote? So I'm unsure what quote that was.
Or maybe it was it the quote about,
relax.
I could go back to it. If you mean the one that said, if you have a story, tell it. If you have a product, brand it. And if you have a service, present it. Yes, that is my quote. Yes.
I love that quote.
Yes.
Love it. We do have some questions already for you. So put your seatbelt on. Let's get ready.
Woo.
Ready?
Awesome.
Why do you think people are so nervous about public speaking?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you so much for sharing. I feel that people are so afraid of public speaking because they don't want to, they feel that they're going to be wrong of what they're presenting. And also they feel that they're not confident enough to share the information. Like I shared early in the presentation, that there's a lot of persons who are afraid to present because they don't know what research that they've done about the topic. So I encourage people, if you feel nervous of presenting because you don't have a lot of knowledge about the topic, I encourage you to get more information about it. It helps you to enhance, it helps you to develop. And that's one of the reasons, because there's lack of research,
Yeah.
also lack of just not wanting to present because they might feel that there's going to be a negative response, or a staring from the crowd moment. And a lot of people don't like that staring from the crowd. But if they're quiet, that means they get their focus level is there,
Thinking.
and they want to just continue to inspire in that way. So yeah.
Okay. Great advice. Number 2, what suggestions do you have for people who may draw blanks, like I did earlier, and not know what to say in a meeting or presentation?
If you don't know what to say in a presentation, I would always try to gauge it into having another conversation, like switching. Okay, so let's just say I'm having a conversation with you right now, Patty,
Yeah.
about presenting a product. And I'm going to say, and then I may switch it to maybe talking about the company a little bit before I re-gauge myself back into the presentation level, as to what I need to know, because sometimes we might have that blank moment as to what we want to say next. But I encourage you to just breathe in and relax. And if you think about public speaking as a conversation tune, it helps you to develop yourself instead of, yes, of course, you're in a business meeting, but making sure that it's a friendly conversation, business meeting, basically, and making sure that whoever you're talking to, whether it's the board people or persons within your organization, making sure that it's a friendly conversation that you're going to have, basically. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome advice. We have a question from Cyril. How do you approach Zoom calls as a presenter? Certainly the norm today, but it can be stressful and uncomfortable versus in person.
Awesome. That's a great question. That's a great question, because normally I would teach Zoom, how to use Zoom at my work at Teamwork Cooperative. So I've been using Zoom before the pandemic has started. So I've gotten myself used to having meetings, because I also mentor a lot of people from around the world. And so what I would normally use Zoom as a technique to inspire. But what I would try to say to people who are trying to navigate Zoom, know your just the key features. The key features are how to share a screen, how to use the chat box, and how to gauge into having a direct conversation and all that good stuff. And so I encourage you that those are some very important parts that you should know. Yes, the other key features about background is one of the key features as well, because a lot of people like to have a creative background, and all that good stuff. So that's like another fun creative way to move forward. But Zoom has lots of features. Sometimes, yes, it is nerve wracking to be virtual all the time. But think it as a inspirational way that you're still able to inspire. And I'm happy that I'm still able to connect with other people. And wherever you're listening to this session too, like I'm really excited that I have the opportunity to share in that way. So yeah.
Awesome. Great. We have another question here from the audience. Um, any tips on how to not come off as scripted?
Yeah,
More natural.
yeah, I would normally, so for my podcast, I'll share this bit from that what I would normally do for my podcast. I would normally write a one-page script, and that one-page script is not for me to go word for word on a conversation. If you need something to like have a conversation to continue to stay focused on the conversation, I would say get a tripod. Get a tripod. Have your phone here that's focused on your camera as well. Don't focus on the script all the time. The script is only there for you to look up, look back down, or if you're just trying to look this way just for a moment, look that way just for 1 sec because it's helping you to gauge. And for me, I have a coffee mug and I have my normally have my phone on that coffee mug to keep me grounded. So if I look down for a little bit, it's okay, it's fine. But I encourage you to practice. I can use another scenario is that I was on another podcast that's going to be launched soon. And what I did was had a 1 hour conversation about what we're going to talk about. And the next hour was presenting instead of acting in a script way. So those are a lot of ways to continue to stay on guard and all that good stuff and to keep you feeling not script. So yeah, hopefully those ways helped.
So this is a great lead in. It's really all about practice.
Yep.
Right. It's like anything we're learning, whether it's, learning to write or learning a new sport
Yep.
or a new activity. It's practice, practice, practice.
Yes. Practice, practice, practice. And I say that a lot because a lot of people need to know that practice is the best key to success. And I think a lot of people has heard those words a lot of times, but you have to actually see it as a way to keep you going and to continue to help you to develop and to help you to grow. Like I mentioned earlier, I was not always like this. I was not always like this bubbly, energetic individual. When it comes down to me presenting, I had to practice. I had to get some tips, feedback. Like every time I post something, I have friends who are my critics or someone to like literally criticize me in so many ways to say, hey, I feel that you should not do a lot of hand movements because when I normally inspire on my social media, I would normally have a lot of hand movements when I'm inspiring. So they said, try to just inspire like this. Try to get close to the camera. Try to give them that personalized tune to help them to motivate, to be inspired, sorry, and to help them to feel motivated to move forward. So yeah, that's a great way.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
great. So great. We have some questions coming in. So this is great. Do you have any tips for someone who is a fast talker and a nervous talker? How to slow them down?
Yes, that's a great question. I feel that I am a fast talker. I am natively from the Bahamas, and Bahamians they we love to talk fast when we're having a conversation. I've learned this so many times. I had to look at my ways, and I still do it up to this day. I still do talk fast, but sometimes I have to make sure that the words that are coming out of my mouth are clear and understanding. So I would say record. I always try to record myself or try to have someone who would give me feedback when I'm doing a speech. So I practice my speech not only in the mirror, but I practice my speech in front of someone or in front of my family members. That's how I actually develop public speaking as well. I had my mom, my sister, my dad, my cousins. They were all in front of me, and they were the audience, and I was the speaker to inspire them or to help them to be persuaded. Of course, my mom, she is one of those persons. She would definitely tell me if something's wrong because she's a public speaker as well. I'm the vice principal, and she's a person who speaks every day and all that good stuff. So she would definitely let me know if my tune's right or if my tune's wrong and all that good stuff. And so I encourage you to have people to help gauge that tone as well. Um, and how can you remember to slow down? I would encourage you to and have color codes in your speech. For me, I always color code my speeches in okay, this is my high tune, this is my low tune, And so having that color code speech, and normally I would have a printed version of my PowerPoints, and I would normally write the tone of where I'm going low. But because I did this presentation so many times, I can remember when I have to go really low and be that inspiring person. So yeah.
Excellent. How do I encourage my team to be comfortable with public speaking? We do a workshop facilitation, info sessions, and seldom it's hard getting the team involved as they are not comfortable. It's always the same volunteers. Would be great if you could give suggestions on how to encourage other team members to get more comfortable speaking.
Yeah, I think that's a great question in regards to that. I mean, all the questions are really awesome and really great. And thank you so much for asking that question. When it comes down to inspiring a team to inspire, when it comes down to inspiring others as well, you have to make sure inspire that person, inspire them, and actually have a conversation with why they are afraid. And sometime allowing a lot of sometimes in organizations today, a lot of sometimes team members don't have the opportunity to present, or there's no, so I would say delegate some opportunities to your team members, to make sure that hey, they have that gain awareness of speaking, or give them the, so we have, like, for example, I can say we have Monday meetups at Teamwork Cooperative. So what my management team has done was they shift to allowing team members to moderate, the whole Monday meetup. So it'll be 2 employees per Monday meetup. And so I encourage you, give your team members responsibilities to want to lead in that area. Also, at our organization, our employees, we manage all the committees, so our employees chair the committee. So I think that giving them that opportunity to speak and giving them that opportunity to facilitate different things will then boost and gain their awareness to want to be a part of other initiatives. But you have to start from small by giving them a task where they're able to speak and being able to inspire others. So I think that's a
That's
great.
great advice, because when you're working in larger organizations where you
Yeah.
have, a lot of team members, and some people are just instinctively quieter, a little
Hmm.
bit more shy,
Yep.
than some of those like yourself and myself who are like, yeah, let's go, let's do it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But really starting from a position of safe place in a comfort zone amongst their team, chairing a meeting. That's a great suggestion. Just getting started, or
Yeah.
running the Monday morning huddle.
Definitely.
Great tips. Great tips.
Yes, I saw someone said, "What is the focus of your podcast?" Just to answer
Yes.
that question, my podcast is focused on strategic leadership development, telling your story. Basically, is one of the core components of your passion and career growth, um, skill development, and also being an impactful leader. And so, treat the leader in you is shifting every day. I always say that because there's always new ideas that's coming on board. But I encourage you to listen to the podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube channel, and all that good stuff. And if you want to connect with me, LinkedIn is the best way to add me on and a great way to connect. So yeah.
Wonderful. Another question for you.
Yes, let's do it.
How can one overcome the tendency to use filler words, such as like, how do we get past those?
I would say one of my friends have taught me, and I'm going to use that inspiration in that way. That one of the persons have one of my friends told me, say, "Hey Tyler, you have to say, my name is Tyler. We're going forward." So like that pause in the middle will help you not to do the ums, the ahs, and everything. So pausing like just for 1 sec and then transitioning to the next message will not have you doing the ums and the ahs a lot. Sometimes the ums and ahs do naturally happen. And I would encourage that that is okay once it only happens once or twice, but don't do it to the whole extent of your speech. You are allowed to take the opportunity to speak in that area, but I encourage you to pause before moving forward in that area. So yeah, yeah,
Good advice. Just take a second,
yeah.
get your thoughts, and then move forward. I am a hand talker.
Me too. I mean,
What do I do with my hands?
I still am, but I try to narrow it down a little bit, but I am too that way.
So it's really a challenge
Yeah.
to what do? You put them in your pockets? Do you stand?
So I
What is
clench,
some advice?
I clench my hand right here and I put it down.
Okay.
And then I said, so good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great day. My name is Templeton Sawyer. And I will try, even though my hand is actually moving, my hand can sometimes be moving down here, but don't allow it. So I can have my camera all the way up to the ceiling sometimes, and then try to bring my hand like this and that and all that good stuff. And you don't know that my hand's moving because I'm really giddy and I'm really excited. So make sure your hand is maybe down or in this clutch position. Or you can, if you wanna, if your hands removed from the clutch position, you can have it moving, but don't have it like all the way up. Oh, make sure position your camera, position your camera in the right tune in the right way. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a real challenge sometimes.
Yeah,
It
and
is,
sometimes
again, but it comes back to here we go. Practice,
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 practice.
practice.
Yes, because like I mentioned earlier in the presentation, 3 or 4 of my friends recognize that I always would do the hand movement at all of my videos, my motivational videos on social media, and so they told me, they said like, Tyler, I'm looking at your hands more than I'm listening to your message. And I said like, okay, I don't want you to look at my hands. I mean, it's all good, but I want you to focus on what I'm trying to say to you. And you always have to be also open-minded to feedback. I think
Yeah.
feedback is very important. And so if I'm telling you that your tune or the way how you presented was kind of off or needed improvement, don't think it as a negative way. Think it as a growing step to help you become an effective public speaker and someone who is clear in communicating in order to move forward. So yeah, that's very
Great. I think we have one last question for you before we finish off the session this morning. If part of public speaking involves answering questions, how can you professionally pause before answering the question without looking like you don't know the answer?
Say great question. Say great question. That's why I before I responded, I said great question. Move forward in answering that. Or maybe if you want to share a quick story before you answer that question, it's always good if you have a story in mind. Not a long story, please don't share long stories, but a story that's going to be of an inspiration. I think that'll be a great way to share in all that good ways. So if you say great question, it gives you that few seconds to think about that question, or you can tell a short story before you answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great advice. That is all the questions we have. Is there anyone that is online? Do you have any comments or a question for Templeton before we wrap up? We have a few more minutes. If you want to just pop them in the chat box. While people are doing that, Templeton, do you have any closing thoughts for us? Tips, tricks, again, with the hands.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. You're practicing, but once you're aware, I think one of the things that I'm going to leave is always be aware of making sure that the presentation makes a lasting impression. Be aware of how you're speaking, be aware of the tune, be aware of the posture, be aware of all of those things. Awareness is very important and it helps you a lot if you're willing to grow, if you're willing to make the necessary changes in order to be effective in your business, in your consulting meetings, in your team meetings, and all that good stuff. And yeah, I would always say be excited about what you speak about. Be excited, do the research. Like I said, I always try to focus on the area that I'm passionate about in a particular topic. There's no topic that I would not be uncomfortable to speak. I'm always comfortable to speak on any topic. Once I do my research and my homework, I will then execute with greatness and all that good stuff. So I encourage you, if you have that awareness part, to do the research. That's very important. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Templeton, this has been an engaging, energetic,
Yeah.
just full of great tips for people to just hone in on their presentation skills. For me, the takeaway is practice
Yes.
and do your research
Yep.
and just take a breath,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely.
Take a
Breathe
breath before
in.
you get going.
Yeah. 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 I always say uza, uza, uza. Just take it in. Just take it in. And that's like my moment of just calming down,
Yeah.
simmering down, and just moving forward. So yeah.
Wonderful presentation. We got some great feedback for you here in the chat box.
Thank you, everyone.
Your podcast, when do you do your podcast?
So my podcast is well, it's going to be weekly now. Every Wednesday it comes out. But for right now, we have another one coming out next week, Wednesday. So stay tuned to that.
All right.
Yeah.
So people can follow you on your podcast. They can connect with you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We're
Or if you
excited.
want to listen to CKDU Radio, actually the podcast is airing today on the radio every Thursday at 4:30. So if you have the chance, if you remember, listen to that at 4:30.
CKDU Radio out of Dalhousie University.
That's right.
That's right. There you go. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Templeton, for your time today and your inspiration. Thanks to everyone for joining us this morning. We have next week, Wednesday, we are talking about renewable energy in Nova Scotia. So we encourage people to sign up and join us on there. Next Friday, we have Aaron O'Toole, leader of the Conservatives, doing a recording chat, fireside chat with Patrick, a Q&A session. And just remind you that this webinar is recorded and will be available on the Chamber YouTube channel later today. Thanks so much for joining us, Templeton. It was always a pleasure.
Awesome.
And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yes, very soon. Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Have a great day.